flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now call the public hearing to order under resolution 21-03.
The Joneses are here this evening. They have started the preliminary process on applying for the CDBG revitalization grant. At a previous meeting, Randy had two actions by council, declaring that the city had the legal authority to apply on their behalf for the grant, and then designating the building as a blighted structure. Both of those have occurred, and tonight's hearing is to actually get the last hurdle in place so they can apply, send the application in, and set up for this revitalization. It's a little different than the two CDBGs that you're familiar with. The Community Block Grant Program is for infrastructure programs, and we've used that 5 times in our community. Then most recently, we did the COVID relief grant for a business community. And now the Joneses have acquired the building, 301 East Main, and they're in the process of rehabilitating that building so they can move forward with their plans. And tonight's hearing is just make sure you're all comfortable with it, and if anybody from the public has comments. Mr. Jones would like to enlighten us on anything?
Basically, yes, everything that you just said. Oh, do I need to go to the microphone? Sorry. Yes, everything you just said. We purchased this building. We have some plans that we'd like to get up and going in the building, but of course, since it has been vacant for quite a while, it's gotten into some pretty serious disrepair. But what we would essentially like to do is bring that building back to its glory days. I found some really fantastic historic photos of the building being built, and it is really kind of a cornerstone building right there on Main Street. And so to have such a prominently displayed building on Main Street, kind of looking a little worse for the wear, it's kind of sad for Marion, because we have such a beautiful little community, and I'd love for that building to be something wonderful for our community again. But obviously, it's a big building, and so that takes a lot of money to fix up all of the problems that it has at this point. But the CDBG grant would help us to tackle a lot of the repairs that just need to be made for it to be weather tight and safe. And we'd really like to be able to take that step.
Any questions from council?
I do. And Roger, you'll probably have to answer these.
Okay.
Reading through the application, I found that this grant is only for the exterior part of the building, like roofs and windows and doors. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then Randy mentioned something about a survey or an inspection for environmental. Are we gonna do that?
The city acts as the conduit for access. The applicant is responsible for, through the grant administrator that they hire,
Okay.
to facilitate all of the environmental.
Okay, so that would include the asbestos inspection too.
Correct.
Okay. And then they understand if they receive this grant, if they sell that building within 3 years, they have to pay back the grant?
Yes,
Do you
we're aware of
understand
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any cost at all to the city?
No, there is not.
Okay,
Well, let me back up. There may be some publication costs, but that's.
well, that's minor.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done, thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
What's your plan for the building? once it's renovated?
Sure, we're trying to kind of keep things tight-lipped for the time being, just because until we have the track, we don't wanna put the cart before the horse and end up, putting our foot in our mouth about things. But our goal is to bring some food to Marion, bring a gathering place to Marion, and bring a lot of events to be able to have fun and community involvement, with Marion. That building offers a lot of opportunity, I think, for us to really be able to showcase some fantastic things about Kansas and some fantastic things about Marion specifically. And I've already talked a little bit with, Kylie Schroeder, I believe it is now, that teaches art, about, having an art contest to, allow students to display their art in the windows around the exterior of the building, and things like that. We wanna be very involved in uplifting our community and drawing more people to see what makes us so special.
Good.
Anyone else? Anyone from the public wish to speak?
Well, this is my husband, Daryl. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I got long-winded, but he would like to say a little more about it, I think.
And I think we're social justice now, so. You were talking about cost to the city, and I think, one of the things that I really wanted to make sure you guys understand is that we wanna bring money into the city, not take money out of the city. I'm from Wichita originally, lived in Orange for a while, and I live in Johnson County, so big communities. So it's kinda hard to make connections. I mean, we've been married for
Almost 8 years.
almost 8 wonderful years. And,
Nice.
I hear a lot about Marion. Never really thought I wanted to move to Marion, but it offers a lot. I mean, the schools are good, we have 2 young children. The chance for community involvement is important. I think, being part of a smaller community, will be good for us and our family, and I think hopefully good for the community as well. But I'm excited. I think it's a new adventure. I'm very passionate about food and cooking, and I think you guys would enjoy it. If it wasn't for the weather, we would have brought some samples, but it's a good thing. It's gonna be a good thing. We're committed. There's a matching portion to the grant, so we definitely will be pouring our own resources into it. And I think, we'll have a good relationship here in the community. I'm really happy to hear about there being opportunities for CASA, because I know there's a lot of, especially during this time, some food insecurities, and I want to help address those. Kids are out during the summertime, being able to provide employment for high schoolers, being able to do those outreach things in the community, so.
Do you have an idea of a time frame completion, or?
Well, that's going to depend on this first step.
Yeah.
Because there are some extensive repairs that need to be done.
We've already started getting bids back for a lot of the plans that we have for the building, and so we're getting bids from local contractors too. We wanna try to keep the work local as much as we can. It's really gonna be dependent upon how things go with this grant and then COVID in general, because I know it's, causing a lot of banks to be more, cautious. So that's why we wanna try and keep things tight-lipped at least for a little while, because until we know that everything's gonna start rolling for us, we don't wanna get people excited before we can really make that final push. In a perfect world, we would like to open summer, fallish, but again, we are dealing with COVID and all of the lovely, lovely side effects of that, so.
Well, hopefully we'll have a perfect world.
I know, right?
But even that, I mean, it's something we're gonna do.
Yes.
If this grant doesn't work, or, if banks are not willing to loan the amounts that we need, then, it may take a little bit longer, and I think that's what Megan is saying, is
Right.
that we don't wanna say, we're gonna open, in the fall, and then have to push it off.
Till the next fall.
Till the next fall. But, like I said, we're committed to it, I mean, we bought the building, it's ours, so, we're gonna do something with it. And like I say, it's nice that, you mentioned the 3D video, and we were completely aware of that, so, if nothing else, you'll have a rehabilitated building in downtown, and, I think that's good for property values and for tax purposes, and so, all those good things, but she stopped me before I said too much, but. I know everybody's really excited, and I hear that, but, it's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be a lot of different things, a place to replace some of the things that have been lost in the community. And who doesn't like, new, different foods and more options, so.
I want to tell you a little bit of history. That top floor, they used to be apartments for all the old men in town. And then in the evenings, they'd come down and sit and visit, but that was apartments up there only for men.
Yeah, we've noticed, we have plans for that too. That's, the first is to get the bottom floor up and to code and all those things, but, we have some plans to use that space, cause it is segmented out. We've been up there numerous times. But, yeah, there'll be
We'll
some
hopefully
there.
have more than just men in that building now,
Oh.
but.
I don't know why it was just men, but what?
Yeah, it looked like there was some office space up there, there was a lot of different things that went on up there, so, now there's some code issues we need to address.
Well, we're excited and welcome to Marion.
Thank you. We'd introduce you to our girls, but then we would have accomplished nothing tonight if we don't have them.
They are really rambunctious. So, any other questions, comments?
I don't think so. I'm curious when Jerry left that building,
That was fun.
but is there anyone else present wish to comment on this? Okay, there being none, I'll adjourn the public hearing, call the regular city council meeting to order. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any, further discussion in regards to the agenda? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Public forum limited to agenda items only. Anyone wish to address that? I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion by the council? Being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Item number 6 is Mayoral proclamation of the Library 5-Star Award, and I'd like to read that. Whereas giving of one's time and resources is an essential part of our city's tradition and essential to its pioneer spirit that enables our community to grow and prosper. And whereas it is ever more evident that our community's greatest treasure is its people, and whereas the Marion Library, under the leadership of the board and its employees, have for the second time received national recognition as a 5-star library by the Library Journal, placing the Marion Library in the top 10 libraries of the United States within their budget category, being one of only 85 libraries in the nation to receive a 5-star recognition in 2021, and one of only 10 libraries in the state to receive any level of recognition. And whereas this accomplishment is based upon many factors, including utilization of library resources by the community, annual visits by patrons, access to the internet services, educational programs, and community enrichment programs. Therefore, I wish to honor and thank Janet Marler, Director. Janet, stand up so everybody knows who you are. Director Vicki Kraus, Cynthia Wyatt, board members Eric Billings, Randy Collett, Shannon Cooper, Mary Griffith, Grant Tierloff, Bruce Winkle and Shari Pageant for their sacrifice of time and many contributions to the community through their countless actions to enrich our lives in Marion. And in doing so, I call on all citizens to express their appreciation to these fine leaders of our community. They inspire a renewed spirit and a vitality of this great city for their actions. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, appreciate that. It definitely is a community effort. We provide the services and the library, but we need the community to support us to get this award, so we thank everybody.
Well, you've done a great job as director of
Well, thank you.
the
Very good, this
library
is
for
our
many, many
president.
years.
Great, thank you.
And you're gonna do that for many more years.
Many more, yes.
Well, thank you.
You bet, thank you.
I have, an appointment to the community board that I would recommend. I recommend to move to appoint Jackie Crowfoot to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term. Is there a second?
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion by the council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2103, legal authority to apply for 2021 Kansas Small Cities CDBG grant. Do you want to speak on that? Or?
Yes, I'll take it. Basically what this is it says that we'll bind the city to act as the agent for access to the program for the Joneses. The applicant declares that the project total is $345,000, which includes $250,000 is what they're applying for in the grant, which is the maximum under the program. 62.5 and required match 25%, 10,000 in in-kind matching, and then the remaining 22.5 will be provided by the owner, either in direct support or labor.
Okay.
But Roger, does the 10,000 and the 22.5 add up to the 62.5? Shouldn't that be 52.5 down at the bottom?
It's included in that, yes. In order to get, they have to have 25%, which is
a total of-
62.5,
Which is a total of 62.5, right?
correct.
And then it goes on to say 10,000 in kind matching, which I understand, with the remaining 22.5 as owner provided.
Correct, and then, I don't have all of the details, I believe the rest of that is going to be the back financing.
Can I clarify for you?
Yes,
Is that
please.
possible? They, from what we understand, the purchase of the building can be included as part of our matching contribution as well, so that makes up that remaining 40.
Okay,
So the 40 and the 22 make the 62.
all right, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 21-03.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 9. Resolution 21-04, calling for a public hearing for 140 North Cedar. I believe you're gonna handle that, Roger.
Yes, the property at 140 North Cedar is a vacant property in the town. It has on the rear of the 2-story house a single story, and the roof structure is in extreme disrepair. We contacted the owners of the property, made them aware of the conditions, and then introduced them to our land bank, depending on what their plans are. We did receive a response from them that indicates that they are residents in Heston, that they have not been to the property in quite some time. We're unaware of the conditions that exist. They're looking into several options currently. They started to remodel, but then their family grew and they have not returned to the project. So they're currently in discussions with a Marion resident about possibly purchasing the property. They're trying to determine, when they can come and tour it. They wanna find out what really needs to be done, and they indicate they'll secure the property. Given where we're at in the conditions, we would recommend to council that we go ahead and set the formal date for a public hearing regarding this structure. And at that time, make the final make a determination if it truly is dangerous, unsafe, or unfit. In your packets, there were some pictures of that. The process, this evening's action is simply creating the publication. The certified letters will be, sent to the property owner, and we'll have a hearing held on March 8th, in this room just prior to our regular city council meeting to make a determination at that point. At that point, the owner has the option of appearing and sharing their plans for renovation or demolish it, whatever. Tonight's just starting the process and getting all the public things in place. We would ask council to entertain this resolution. Even though they responded to us, we believe we need something a little more formal, given all of the roof and plaster has been removed from the interior of the house. All of that material is still present inside the home, and now the roof has, it's fallen a good foot, so we're not sure exactly what's wrong there.
Is that roof on the house itself or that kind of shed on the back?
It's on the lean-to portion
Yeah.
addition that went on to the home.
Actually, I lived there 35 years ago, and that was where the washer and dryer were. It was a little bit better shape. That's a long time ago. But yeah, I drove by it the other day, and I saw where the roof was. I didn't drive by the back, just the front and look down, and I wondered if it was on that lean-to part. Because yeah, that
Yes,
was
now,
where
we have not gained access to the premises other than the door was open, we were able to take a picture of the wiring and that
Yeah.
type stuff.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
this will get the process rolling where we
Right,
can gain
okay.
access and help the owner make a determination if it's, worth repairing or where we need to go with it.
I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 21-04, calling for a public hearing at 140 North Cedar.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
been moved and seconded. Any further discussion by the council? Question? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Resolution number 10, resolution 2105. Roger?
Okay. The resolution this evening is asking for your authority to apply to the Kansas Petroleum Storage Tank Release Trust Fund. And this is for the site of our former electric production plant. The city owned that site from 1916 through 1973 and operated at different times 3 different diesel engines within that plant. When the county was in the process of doing their demolish of the old structure and the rebuilding of the transfer station, it was found that in the ground soil, there was still active petroleum byproduct. The state came in, did the initial abatement on the site, but given the levels from the Environmental Protection Agency lab work that they provided to me, it is deemed as an active site. It needs to be monitored, and then could possibly be future abatement involved with this site. One of the options that is available to us is the state of Kansas does have a trust fund set up to handle situations like this. You know, almost 48 years since we operated anything there. With your permission, and if you pass this resolution, then I will finalize and submit the application to the trust fund. If accepted, we have a deductible amount of, we pay $3,000 to enter into the agreement with that. And then the fund will take care of the monitoring, getting a hold of the contractors, installing it. This is the same process that when we were doing our downtown project and we found the tanks down at First Street from an abandoned gas station. In that case, they could not find, the last owner of that particular parcel. So I'm asking your permission to apply for the trust fund. Hopefully we're accepted, and then from there, the state will help us, they'll make the resources available to us to get all of the monitoring, and then if there is future abatement.
So has this site been cleaned up
They,
that we're talking about?
they excavated what material they found, and it's been isolated. It'll have to be processed, through, and basically they run it through a furnace. All of the material that's been through there, it's been segregated right now and is being filled. And when we sold the property to a development company in 1973, or 73 is when we stopped using the site, had the diesel engines taken out and disposed, or actually shipped to Hawaii. It was later sold to an investment company, and as part of that deed, we indicated on the deed restrictions that we would, continue to maintain the environmental responsibility for anything prior to that date, so.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Does that like release us from liability if we go to this way, Roger? I mean, we're not liable with money then after that.
Correct. If we're accepted in the program, all of the abatement costs and monitoring costs are paid by the fund, not directly by the city.
If this passes and they approve it, we still have to pay
$3,000.
$3,000, yeah. Okay. Entertain a motion to approve resolution 21-05, Kansas Petroleum Tank Release Trust Fund.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion by the council? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Water line project line update, Zach?